optical was like my playground. And you take things for granted, you're always there. But when you're outside the country, you live outside, and you go to the same kind of setting, an optical, there's a different perspective how they run things. Maybe it's the culture also, part of it, it's the culture, no? My grandfather, Dr. Federico Sarate, he's known to be the first Filipino optometrist of our country. And he studied in Northwestern Illinois University. And then, when he came back, he established Sarapio Optical. Then his children, many of them, became optometrists. His grandchildren, I'm one of them. I'm from the third generation. I became an optometrist. But first, I was a teacher, a primary teacher. Yes, children's teacher. And before college, I was with Ananda Marga. You heard of that? Right. Then they had a nursery school. I said, I want to teach there. So I was teaching children. I liked it. So after college, I taught in Claret because I felt, pwede na ako maging teacher, no? So, I mean, it's not that easy to enter, to teach, no? They give you interviews. You have to give a sample how you teach, and before they even can hire you. So it's just so natural for me because as a child, I always wanted to be a teacher. And so after 1 year of teaching in Claret, I felt antsy. I wanted to see the world. And so I joined ISTAFIL. There's this program, ISTAFIL. You could go study the culture and of a country for 1 year. And there I applied and I was given a choice. Mexico, Germany, New Zealand, something. 3 countries left. The others were taken. So right away I said, no, I'm going to Mexico. And so I was there. I went to Mexico, supposedly for 1 year, but I loved the place so much. And eventually I had a family. I married Marco. He's with the orchestra. He's a classic musician. He's a bassist, contrabassist. And we have 2 children, Valentin and Xiomara. I taught there 10 years, close to 10 years, yes, teaching children. Primary and bilingual school. It's English, Spanish school. And I enjoyed it. And then, during one visit of my parents, my father went to see his friend, an optometrist, Dr. Adam Corder. I went along. And so when we were there in Adam Corder's clinic, I was observing how he mingles with his clients, how he welcomes them, his manners with them, his ethics with them. Observing him, I was so inspired because his heart was so pure. I'd see natives come in and he would deal with them and he would say, what can I do for you, no? And he looks at the eyes. He probably had that kind of consultation free and maybe gave them, who knows, gave them glasses. But I liked the way he treated the natives, how he treats his clients, his patients. And I said, I want to be like him. So that was my inspiration. It stayed here, no? I just said, I want to be like him because I liked his ethics. And then in this picture, you will see Edna Reyes, that's her, okay, when we became adults. Here is Kathy Saulog, and that's her. That's me, moi, and that's me here, and then Mayan Eduques from another section. We became very close, high school up to adulthood. It was in 1986 when I came back. I already had in my mind, I'm going to study optometry. I want to be an optometrist. I've been basing it from my feeling from what I saw in Dr. Adam Corder, no? I remember arriving here, then resting, still having jet lag. I enrolled on the second day that I arrived, from the second day I arrived.
Where did you know?
Centro Escolar University. First day, I opened the books and I fell in love. It's like, oh, there you are. It's like my heart was there. There you are. Yung ganon. You're talking about the eye, the anatomy of the eye. I loved it. And I like science. I like biology. So when I opened it, how the eye looks like, the anatomy when it's crossed that way. You know? And I loved it also when we had to dissect eyes of pigs and cows. To not so you don't base it only on pictures, no? You really touch it. You know how it the aqueous humor looks like, you know how the crystalline lens looks like. Love it. Yeah. When I left Mexico, before I left Mexico, I was really planning my life in the Philippines. I'm going back to school, I'm going to finish it, and I had already a vision what I wanted. And so I was like a monk then. While I was in Centro Escolar studying optometry, after school I'd go home, study. Of course, pay attention to the children first when they're asleep. That's when I really study. When any person decides on his path in life, they excel. They will excel, especially when there's maturity involved. So I was in school. I was with a young generation of 16, 17 years old, fresh from college. And I was already like 30, 32, trying to recall. So I'd go to school during exam. And when I'd hear my name is part of the list who would be exempted, I'd say, could I please take the exam? I studied. And I was risking, no? Example, you know, what if I didn't really get a good grade? It will be marked. But I still said, no, I want to study. Sayang for me, sayang.
Yeah.
And I want to put the answers, no? Getting exempted was the farthest thing from who I was in the past. And there I was. And because I was so focused on studying and I loved it. And after graduation, again, more focused because that was the board exam. You know, I had to make it for myself. One of my professors was saying that, you know, the board exam, it's more about your ego. You have to pass it. It's for your ego.
Exactly.
After that, I practiced here. When I received my license, yes, here. The trend then was Makati, right? No, like everybody wants to go to Makati. That's the place to be. Siyempre, I wanted to be there, no? Pero, andito na tayo, no? There's one here. So he says, you go here, you stay here. So, the first month was scary for me. It was like, I was so green, you know? Like, when you're in college, you think, oh, yeah, I passed the board exam, and, you know? But you stay in, and then they come to you with all trust, no? And you feel so green.
So
Mga professors, wow.
do you remember your first patient?
Yes, it made me feel so nervous.
Or were they prominent professors or what?
Residents, no? Resident professors, yeah. The first year, I didn't have friends. I just come and then parang, I didn't know how to face people. They'll be the one to talk, can I have this checkup? And ganon. Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. And then they'll be the one to talk. I'll just say, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Ganon. Kinakabahan. It's like when somebody big comes in, my eyes go big also.
Sana walang pasyente.
One day, I said, no, this cannot go on. You know, this cannot go on. I have to, you know, get my mojo. So I decided I'm going to New York. My brother Kuku is there, and Olga. See? The two children, Valentina and Shumara, were going to Mexico for a long vacation with their father. So I said, okay, you go to Mexico, I go to New York. So my brother, he's an optometrist, and he worked with Dr. Hanson Sisler in the university area. Kuku connected me with an optical there. It's called Devonshire Optical. It's in University Place, but it's like within Greenwich Village. And my boss was John Foco. He's Italian-American. And he's an optician, and he was happy to get me as an optometrist. No? In the US, usually they go to an ophthalmologist. An optician like John Foco cannot refract. So he gets prescriptions from the opthal, but he has a beautiful, elegant shop and with all these beautiful frames. Nice setup. And so I worked there. We were accepting prescriptions. The patients would choose their frames. I would assist them and then get the grade, etc. No, then we have it made. Then when they claim it, I'm there to adjust. Yeah. So we were three assistants of John, our boss. So when he was introducing me to the place, showing me around, it was classic music. Wow, elegant, nice, no? Then he says, and we're going to the workshop downstairs. So we went down, and I heard immigrant song, Led Zeppelin. And I said to myself, oh, thank you, God, thank you. What a nice place. I felt so lucky. And John asked me, you know that song? I said, yes, sir. No? Trying to contain myself, not, yes, sir. And he showed me, okay, this is the automatic cutter, the lens cutter, it's automatic. And here's the area where you do the tints. Do you know how to tint? Not yet, I'll teach you. He was like that, very professional. Do you know how to do this? Not yet, I'll teach you. Everything I learned down there in that workshop, the basement. How to repair glasses, how to adjust, and how to do the automatic cutting machine, the lens cutter, and popping out lenses. The things, what an optician would do. I learned it there. And it's so nice because while they were teaching me, Bob and Jimmy, they would say, this is how we do it in Devonshire Optical. New York City, that area, I couldn't imagine racing Valentin and Xiomara there. Yeah? I don't know, I couldn't imagine myself growing old in New York. I like Manila. I like Philippines. My plan, while I was there, was to learn everything as much as possible, especially in adjusting. Because usually that's a man's job. The optician, it's hard, you use a lot of your hands. And I remember seeing John's hands full of, calio and, bricks from the screwdrivers. And I would say, kawawa naman, no? I would think, not knowing it's gonna happen to me too.
So,
intense schedule from 9 to 5, and it's all work, Monday to Saturday. And I didn't mind it because I said, I have to learn all of this. When I get back home, I'll be confident. So I was gaining my ground already as an optometrist, no? Especially speaking up. I was left sometimes alone up in that optical while they were doing the jobs, no? So my job was to receive the patients. Some were very nice, some were very formal, some were not very nice. You just had to have a straight face, no? And not take it personally. What was interesting also, the setup, because there are universities in that university place, New York University. So the clientele were professors also, like here in UP. So I was also exposed to professors, many artists. One time, Tim Robbins.
oh, the actor.
Yes, the actor. He came in with a stroller and a
Tall guy.
Yeah. Then, Jimmy was saying, don't you know him? I said, no, who's he? That's Tim Robbins, Jacob's Ladder. Ganon, no? I said, get his autograph, bring it to the Philippines. So me, okay. He was sleeping like this. I said, sir, yes? Could I please have your... Sure. Very simple. And then he had this baby with him. He was married to Susan Sarandon.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's their child. And twice he came to the optical and with the baby. So going back to UP, confident na ako. Yes. Confident na ako. Oh, this is interesting, okay? So, maybe on my second week here, quiet pa rin. I didn't say, oh, I just came back from New York. No. I just doing the same thing, but with more confidence, right? And then, one afternoon, in comes the grand dame, Daisy Langenegger. She comes in and she's looking at the frames and she's, oh, beautiful. And she introduced herself and then we were talking and we couldn't stop talking. For me, she's a grand dame. Yeah? Same generation. So that's why we could identify with each other. I checked her eyes, I refracted her, and after that, we started exchanging views, etc. And she says, could I invite you to an art exhibit? Okay. Clueless ako, okay? So when I stepped in, she came, she started introducing me. It's Jerry Tan. And this is Romeo Lee. These were the first two artists I met.
You hold me tight!
Later, she asked me if I like listening to reggae music. I said, okay, let's try that. Or have you heard of Grupong Pendong? No. Thank you, they're my friends. Okay. So,
Ngayon lang tayo nagkita. Buhay ko'y iba. Ang pangarap na sa atin ay nagsama. Likhay damdamin ng may pag-asa.
and so I joined in to watch the rock and roll, which it was totally new to me. I know there's Pepe Smith. I'd see him on TV, and I know there were concerts, but of course, I grew up in Merinol. It wasn't in my environment, let's say, yeah? Although I like rock music ever since I was a kid, it was quiet. It's hidden, no? Like high school, if I wanted to listen to something heavy, I had to do it in secret. Because my father, he had no patience for those things, no? We would listen to Binky Lampano. And I remember Cookie Chua, listening to her. Oh yeah, the Jerks. Yeah, it was all with Daisy. Thank you, Daisy. Thank you. Okay. It's so funny because when she introduced me to this musician, she said, "Oh, if you're having trouble with your eyes, come see her in UP Diliman." Yeah, she was my spokesperson. I didn't even tell her to do that, but I guess she liked being the optical. She liked ordering glasses. So one time we went to the bistro. Daisy and I went to the bistro. We were threesome actually. Daisy, I, and there's this Virgie Gapus. She's a publisher. We're from the same generation. There's an intermission for Grupong Pendong, no, because they're her friends. They're her real friends, her close friends. And in comes Dong Abay.
Pagkatapos, kumain tayo sa labas ng zoo.
With Eric Gancho playing the guitar. Sa zoo, maybe? Sa zoo? He's taking his girlfriend to the zoo.
To the zoo.
And then he's saying he doesn't like her. She doesn't look attractive anymore because of her nose or her hairdo.
Ng iyong boyfriend kasi ayaw niya ang bago mong
That's Dong. But he had a dance that I was watching him. I said, "Oh my, what is that?" But it was like something new to me, no? Daisy and I were introduced to Dong. he came to our table and then, as usual, Daisy said, "You're from UP, no? Oh, you go to her shop. You go to her shop. That's a UP yan." And I said, "Okay, yeah, come." And he did come, yes. And I did check his eyes. Yeah, he had astigmatism, yeah. He had astigmatism. And then later, he brought in Marcus Adoro. Marcus, no, he didn't have a checkup because he knows his eyes are good.
Never had problems with his
Yes.
eyes.
But now, Marcus, shall I say it? Huh?
Reading glasses
You have
naman.
reading glasses na, no? Okay. Dong brought in Marcus, and they would stay a while, and then the three of us would talk.
Mm.
And then later, they brought in other friends. Buddy came, Raymond, etc. Ellie, of course, Yuli Veloso, the artist, who eventually made the angels of, the holy angels, those angels, right? That's Yuli's work. He asked me, what if I make a project for you here? And I'll get all these rockers and we'll dress them up like angels with horns. I said, and we call it holy angels. Sure, Yuli, do it. So he did it, and there's like a whole panel of them, right? So that's, yeah. And he told me, give me a list of who you want. Yeah, so we did it there. Then I met you, you know? Dempster, I met him together after Sila Dong. You were still going around with Joey Ayala, the band, and but you would still hang out you would also hang out in the shop.
Yeah.
So it became really a fun place. We're meeting more rockers, and it was becoming very exciting because I found out I could connect with the young kids. I mean, why will I call you kids? No? The young ones. It's so much fun. There's so much interaction, no? It was beautiful because I liked when Dong and Marcus would be around, and Yuli, we'd be talking about what we can do. Dong would be talking about his next project, his next song. Marcus also would be talking about what he's going to do. We were dreaming in there. We did a lot of dreaming and visioning. Dong Amay and Romeo Lee. And one of the first clients I had, the earlier clients I had is Pepe Smith. That's Pepe, 1994. And here we are, 2018. Okay, so we put them together. This is how we look. And this one was maybe a month before he passed. He came here December 2018 and for a refraction, and I saw, oh my, he has cataracts. So they worked on it. The doctors worked on it. One day, I received a call from Poch Concepcion, and he's a good friend of Daisy also. No? So Poch says, Nella, you know, Pepe Smith just got out of jail, and his eyes got pretty bad. He's a wide reader, and his eyes got pretty bad inside the cell. I'd like you to check his eyes. I said, sure. You know, but of course, containing my excitement. You know, here's, wow, Pepe Smith, right? So, Pepe came, larger than life. I was observing him first, but I saw he's really nice guy, nice person, and very positive. You know, he had electric talaga. Parang si Lourdes siya eh. There's something electric in both of them. So, checked his eyes, and then he kept making cuento. Refracting just one part, one short part, and then the rest, he was telling stories, went on and on. That's how we became friends. It's so easy to be with Pepe, to connect with him, yes. He's so human. And that's how we became friends. And he'd be coming, not only for glasses, which he lost most of the time.
Yeah, I'm
He'd
sure.
lose them and say, I need glasses. Sure, another pair. And another pair. Until nahiya na siya mismo nahiya. And he figured he could read without the glasses. He just forced himself to read. Beyond the glasses, we just became friends. Another interesting client I have is Kevin De La Cruz. He's an indie film director. He's another person who would tell me his dreams, what he wants to happen. He would do small projects, film projects, and he included me in one. And it was fun, actually.
I
And,
saw that.
really?
You were a mad optometrist of some sort.
Not mad, happy. So, Kevin and I were talking about all these interesting things happening in the scene, the music scene, literary scene. I said, ang daming indie ngayon nangyayari, no? How nice. And I said, who's selling them? He said, wala, sila. They bring their stuff to their gigs, in fairs, they bring it there. I said, what if we make it a home? This becomes a home for them. They bring all their stuff here, then I sell it, no? So they can be heard, they can be bought. It's not going to be serious money, but the thing is, for a band, for musicians to have sold their music is something big for them. And I want to see that. I want to be part of that. Kevin said, yeah, it's really nice. We can do that. Do you have the contacts of all these indies? He said, yeah, I have them. Yes, okay. When do we start? He asked, when do you want to start? I said, now. You go home, get the stuff you have, let's start it now. No? Then he brought his stuff, and that's how it started. And little by little, slowly, the bands heard about this place where I would sell, and they started coming. But I didn't realize it's hard work. The accounting was difficult. But
Inventory.
hirap nun, ah. Yeah, each band had their own notebook, and each sale, however big or however modest, I had to write it down and make sure when they collect, complete. No? Pinanindigan ko yan for 1.5 years. It was hard work. But then I said, no, I'll continue doing this because this is a dream also. I want to see this happening. Indie film, indie whatever, will flourish. In fact, it was growing, the indie movement. And so the optical became instrumental to that vision or that idea Kevin and I had. Even if it was hard, I told myself, when I grow old, I want to look back and said I did it. I lived this dream. Yeah. And so even if it was hard for me, and in fact, I was selling more tapes than the glasses.
Really?
Yeah, came to a point that way. I was really into it, no? I wanted to see all these, the happy faces of these musicians when they come to collect. However modest it is, it's like we're being bought. People are listening to me, to our band, I like that. And I want to be instrumental in that. And so I give them the money and say, that's gives me so much satisfaction.
Do you remember some of the band names?
Of course. Dato's Tribe,
Oh, nice.
of course. And then Dirty Kitchen. Of course, Grace Nono.
Oh.
And Kevin's music. Radioactive. And also some of Lourdes' books. I would sell Jessica's books also. Oh, the comic makers, the comic artists, yeah, comic book artists. Ah,
Bob
Bob
Aves.
Aves, I would sell his music also. Patatag, I would sell. Gary Granada, a lot of Gary Granada. Edro Abraham, I would sell his Kontragapi. Kontragapi. And also magazine of Vin Dancel.
Sandali, alam ko na atang sasabihin mo.
Yeah.
Eve's brother, yeah.
Yes. I made glasses for Ebe once, but I had more connection with
With Vin.
Vin Dancel. I think he was more with our scene.
Oh, yeah, the
Yes.
independent. Yeah.
Yeah. Ebe, I think he was with another group. Oh, later I was selling Dong's t-shirts also. He made series of t-shirts with his with phrases from his songs, which was selling. And his fans from yesteryears, would come and buy them.
Yeah, I bought one.
Yeah. Ganda nga eh.
Yeah. But were you aware of how far the opticals reputation went
No.
amongst the...
No, I wasn't thinking of that. Otherwise, you're thinking, oh, I'll sell, so I'll get known. No. I didn't know the impact. Maybe I was busy accounting. Ito. I'm just happy when I see their faces. There's the pride that they were able to sell. Okay na yan. Sa akin. I just wanted to thank you and the guys because you made me. I can say that. I made myself, but you backed me up. It's like, you know what? I didn't have that much confidence, but having you guys behind me, I became confident. That's what I can say. All right. Before I even start refraction, I would like to fit the frame. I make sure that everything is fixed. Okay, it's straight. I push this and it closes, it makes it loose. Okay, so then we work on that. By the way, this is a thin frame, Korean, and Dempster chose it. He's very experimental ever since. Ever since I met him. He was still in college studying architecture, and Dempster, this is one of his frames that he chose last year. It's purple, and it's the more the roundish, and that's in fashion now. But Dempster had it ahead, and he chose purple. Okay, now here is a big one, and Dempster chose this. Again, it's very experimental, very bold, in fact, which I love when it's a man choosing something different from the standard. Okay, mainstream. No movement during the nose pads. That means it's fine. That means if he perspires, he's a biker. So if he's biking and he's using this, he perspires, it's not going to fall, even if he perspires, because this is well fit. Also the nose pads, it's not going to fall because I fit on the nose pads, the nose area. Even if he sweats, it's not going to fall. It's the first thing I do. Now let me check his eyes now. Let me refract.
All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray, I came for a walk on a winter's day, I'd be safe and warm.
March 8, 2018. I woke up early, then I said, I'm going early to the optical. I want to, gear up first. And it was a nice day because I said, I want to start early today. So I woke up and I arrived there at 7:30. And then my assistant then was saying, Ma'am, tignan mo, may usok. Ganon. Tapos there were people stopping, outside stopping us from entering. But I parked anyways. Then they were telling us already, may sunog dyan, nag-umpisa dyan sa shakes, tapos mabilis. Then I was saying, no, malayo pa yan. Can I enter? I'll enter my shop. I'll get whatever I can. Like, I left some money there. I said, better get it, no? And then my assistant said, Ma'am, huwag ka na pumasok. Kasi baka, hindi namin alam, galing sa kisame yan. Baka mabagsakan yung ulo mo. Then I said, oo nga, no? Sige, bahala na. I left it na. And sure enough, no? It was like a fire show. Parang New Year. Because as the fire was growing, it was like, bang, 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 bang. Parang New Year ba? But scary. Because, you don't know if it's going to explode or what. So we had to step back. And how fast the fire, you could hear the roar. You remember that? Oh, like a monster. It was like a monster. And then plus the smoke, the effect, plus the explosions.
Chemical fires. Like
Oh my God, yeah. And my shop was here. So as it was crawling, I said, this is real. This is for real. I better pray na, no? So I spoke to God and I said, if you take it from me, if it burns, please help me find something else to do. No? This is the only thing I know, to check eyes. But if you save it, meron pang hope dyan. If you save it, sabi ko, that means you want me to continue this. So, mukhang he was really going. So it was woo, 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 woo. And then later, after praying, nakita ko, there were 2 bomberos on top of my roof. And they were doing that with their hose. I said, what's this? Is this a dream? No? And Patty, my assistant, said, Ma'am, may bombero na dyan, no? I said, oo nga, no. Why on top of mine? I was wondering, it was so fast. Yeah? And they were cracking the windows from outside so they could put the hose inside my shop. And I was just watching. Pero I gave it up already, no? Bahala na, sige, sa inyo na yan. So after 2 hours, we were just there. We were in the acacia, seated. All of us were seated, waiting for the firemen to report to us, no? After 2 hours, they came. And then they said, sinong stall 39? Ako po. Stall 39, stall 40. Parang ganon, kami ni Blessings. They were calling us. Pwede na kayong pumasok. And then the rest, tahimik. They didn't say anything. Stall 39, stall 40, I think we were 4 who were allowed. So when I saw, wow, the whole corridor is parang Marawi. Parang bang! It was like a war zone talaga. And it's like a creepy movie, a horror film, and you step into that horror film and you see all charcoal and so aggressive at the same time. I don't know. I'll never forget that. So, I saw my optical still at the door, still at the padlock, while the others had no more doors. All the frames that I left from the evening before, still there, standing, as if nothing happened. Andyan pa, the display ko, everything. What I saw were my recibos floating. Never mind the recibos, but then I saw my Santo Niño like that. With big eyes, burned face. I mean, from the smoke, do that. I said, you're okay. Then I saw Virgen de Guadalupe's picture. Clean. Wala nangyari.
Yung mga estante.
Nothing happened. Nothing. It's really a miracle. And my documents, important papers, were in thin plastic. They're supposed to melt because it's like an oven. It's there. My money, there. Yeah. It was like really a miracle. And I said, thank you, no? Thank you, God. And when it burned, I saw who my good friends were. Well, while it was burning, I saw Alif Din. You sent your son to check on me, to help me. And then Lourdes texted and he said, "Oh my God, Nella, what can I help? How can I help you?" I said, "It's okay, Lord, we're fine here." And then another called Raymond Marasigan. It's so sweet. It was so comforting to know that I'm not alone, you know. And here comes Dong.
Siyempre.
Comes Dong to the rescue. Kamusta ka? Ayun ang mga, see, Dong, you, Lord, Raymond, I'll not forget them. And I was thinking, okay, now that I have my shop saved, everything saved, where do I go? Where do I work? I'm thinking, okay, I'll start scouting anywhere so that I can start working again. No, I have to survive. Here comes Dr. Florendo of Business Concessions, together with Michael Tan, Professor Michael Tan. Don't worry, we're going to map out UP Diliman and see where we can put you in. No, we can transfer your shops. Give us 1 week to do it, and we come back after 1 week, something like that, to that effect. No, so she said, okay, we have 3 places in Acacia, and many people wanted to come here because it's a new building and very near the old shopping center. No, those who want to stay here, put your names. We're going to have lottery. Those who want to stay in, who want to try Centennial Dorm, you can also put your names there, and whoever wins, there are 3 slots. And then there are some in Vinson's, there are some ganon, no? I just tried here. Okay, I put my name there. Then I was praying again praying. I said, alam mo, Lord, gusto ko naman something respectable. Dahil it's a shopping center. Medyo, it was home, but I want something respectable. If you can give me a chance to work here, I'd love that, no? And so, the day came when it was picking the numbers, and we were there. The first number came to Blessings, no? Aimee. So, very happy siya. The second one, stall 39. Then, I was in a daze there. Like, no, I'm not gonna get it. I already had my miracles there in the other shopping center. Walang nasira, hindi ako na-birth, ganon. So, baka abuse na ito if I ask God to give me a place here. Pero when they said 39, stall 39, my mind was elsewhere. Then somebody nudged me and then, Uy, Sarabia, ikaw 39. What? Yan, 39 nga pala. Then, he said, okay, here's the key to your shop now. I couldn't believe it. This is too much now. I'm not bragging, pero, di ba? Sobra, parang salamat naman. Maybe you want me to be here. But I remember my promise. I said, you give me this shop, if you save this shop, I'll do better. I'll do better.
Stopped into a church. I passed along the way. Well, I got down on my knees, and I pretend to pray. You know the preacher like to call.
During the lockdown, many of the residents were not in the street. The ones who were active around with the janitors, the security guards, and they were the ones coming to me for glasses. They became close to my heart. Sila, they became my friends. And up to now, security guards coming here. I like that. Yeah, it's really community part of also the SSB. Yeah, they come here. After the lockdown, well, the regular clients like Buddy Zabala, and then I make glasses for Dong, it's regular, and then his son Awit, and then Grupong Pendong, when they're in the Philippines, they come see me, etc. I mean, it's so varied. I can't remember now. Even if they're not active as musicians, they have their own paths now, no? They still come. They still come. It's not about the band anymore. it's the connection already that we've made, and they come, and the service I give to them and their families. And these are years of connecting with one another, 33 years, which is, wow, a milestone.
You still have fun.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Once I wake up, before 6, I go biking around the village. Yeah. And then I see other seniors. Yeah. And some are biking and some came from Zumba in one of those homes there. And it's a nice community. And I'm like saying good morning to everyone. Hi, good morning. Even to the tricycle drivers, they learn to say, good morning, ma'am. Lovely. And so at 7:30, I'm already preparing breakfast. 8, I leave. No. 9, I leave. And then more or less, I'm here by 10. No need to gear up. It's already here. It's already very simple setup. So age, I don't know if I'm 68. So what? But I'm proud of it. Yeah, it's like a badge here, right? I've reached here.
Do you still have a list of things that you want to accomplish?
It will come. It will come. I don't have a list. I'm just satisfied with my work, with life, with biking every morning. So yeah, it's so pure. And then before going to work, you're biking. You still can bike. You can still do that. I like the happiness that I'm able to give to each client that I have.
Z L T E D E F D.
Okay. It's your nearsightedness, and we put an astigmatic component. What happened in line 7? Bigger?
Big.
Okay. Let's see. Nice. But you look like a pari, huh? Well, here's an artist. I will never forget. I'll tell you the story. He came and he told me he just applied and got a new job and he needed glasses. So he was canvassing, okay, how much. And I told him, don't worry, I'm going to give you the glasses for free. As I'm very proud of you that you got your first job. So I don't know, I forgot his name. It's there on file, but there's hundreds of of cards there. I can never remember his name, but whoever you are, I'm still proud of you here. I'm proud of having made your first pair of glasses on your first job, okay?
My guiding philosophy was, I'm doing my purpose. And my purpose is not only to be an optometrist, but to be a good person, you know. I'm not perfect, you know. But I'm guided by that. If somebody's in need of glasses and modest lang ang earnings nila, no? You're not going to bother the food they put on the table for a pair of glasses. What if I was the one in that place? I was the father, the mother, single mother, and they have to sacrifice for a pair of glasses. I'm not gonna do that. And I'm not gonna do it for free because you still have to give them the dignity to pay whatever they can. And I can feel what they can afford. It's no longer how much I earn every day. It's how much I do my purpose. I don't even look at, I gave this person glasses, ganon. No, I don't look at that anymore. I guess we arrive at that point in our lives. No? When we stop, we don't need to count anymore. It's not, or we reach that realization that the material thing, when you do it something with passion, you follow your profession with passion, you reach a point where you just want to help, no? It's not about the money anymore. I want to be better at what I do because I realize that whatever you need is being given to you by the universe. No, I don't want to talk like this, no, in this esoteric, no, but I realized it. Whatever you need will be given, will be provided. There in the shopping center, that was my only means of living, eh? And then it was gone, and then here's a new one. And yeah, what's next? It's the spirit, the soul, nurturing it to a higher level. I'm not going to be a nun. It's not about that. It's not about any religion. No, it's within me. I'd like to nurture it. What I missed out on understanding the world. Life is more than what we see. And I would like to nurture that, understand it. And it's not in the books. You live it every day. When I get up, I pray to God thank Him that there's a beautiful day out there. And I ask Him for energy, to be able to do my purpose for the day. When I pray, it's my individual connection with God. And it's not about anything else. And it becomes more interesting, actually.
Don't you hear the music, baby? Don't it feel good? Let it get to you, baby. Try and let go. You don't have to worry about a thing.
Hello, I'm Marianela Sarabia at your service. I come from a family of ophthalmologists and optometrists who have served this country since 1906. I would like to invite you to my optical here at Acacia Building, UP Diliman, Quezon City. I'll see you there. Thank you.
Come on up. Come on up. Just come on up, baby, and have a good time. Love to watch it happen, baby, when I dance with you. Love to see the music change right up to the moon, and you don't have to worry about a thing. Come on up, just come on up, just come on up, baby, and have a good time. Come on, give it a try.
Hola, soy Marianela Sarabia, a tu servicio. Pertenezco a una familia de oftalmólogos y optometristas y hemos servido a ustedes desde 1906. Quisiera invitarlos a mi óptica aquí en Acacia Building, UP Diliman, Quezon City. Nos vemos y muchas gracias.